Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Her head was on fire. What was he?
This is a kumbaya moment here on our after show, apparently.
He took her to
And the Brazilian started, but we're not doing this to the beat. What's up with that Latin rhythm you got?
What are you
Get it
What's that Latin rhythm?
Get it together.
I like it.
She's
I'm
dating-
at the beach. She's
She's
at.
dating a white guy. That's why she can't dance.
Oh!
Hello. It starts already. It starts. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Scorpion, the Scorpion After Show here on AfterBuzz. That was such a nice song too.
That's good. No, it's true.
And we ruined it.
And
I ruined it. Yeah, it was a really nice wedding song. It was a nice little proposal song. Nobody on the show really got proposed to, except for 2 characters that we'll never see again. But still, this is episode 19, Young Hearts Spark Fire. Thank you so much for tuning in on YouTube, to watch us on video, or on iTunes, or on SoundCloud. You can also tweet all of us. Yeah, we're on SoundCloud too. We're fancy. My name's Nando Velasquez. You can reach me on Twitter at Nando Vel, and next to me is...
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at my name, Monse Bolanos.
There we go.
Yay! And then to my left,
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh, creepy. That was
Okay,
creepy.
Joe,
You
you
can find
can
me. I'm just saying hi, okay? Come on. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Marina Santos Fit.
And hey guys, I'm Ryland Adams. You can find me on Twitter at Ryland_Adams. And then on Instagram, it's changed because somebody took it. It's Ryland Adams.
because he has such a generic white name.
Yeah, right? Generic white boy name.
And you can tweet us and Instagram us with the hashtag ABTV Scorpion. Let's talk about this episode. Episode 19, Young Hearts Spark Fire. That's not the only thing that sparked fire, but we'll get into that. Let's talk. Really good episode. Actually, you know what? Was lots of fire, obviously, in this, as in the title. And I was thinking, like, they spent a lot of money on this because there's a lot. I would think to get all the pyrotechnics and everything going on for this kind of episode. This is a big episode for the production, I think.
So they've got some pay raise increase on production.
I guess so.
Some increase, yeah.
Let's before we start getting into all the whole case of the week type stuff. Let's knock out a few things. Let's start off with Happy and Toby because we saw them kiss. We saw Happy go for the big kiss. Like take the initiative and kiss 2 weeks ago in the last new episode. And I think going in we kind of saw the scene where Toby was making a bet with Happy to get that little airplane with the Santa Ana winds into the window across the street. And if he won, she was supposed to take him out to dinner. And if she lost, he was supposed No. If he wins, she takes him out to dinner. Yes. If she wins, then he does her laundry, which Happy said you would actually like that better if I won probably. But we're noticing still that dynamic. It's a lot of fun, but now Toby's the aggressor. We're noticing that Toby's a little bit more the aggressor. We notice him trying to protect her several times this episode, trying to treat her right, and she's pushing him away.
He's trying to put a ring on it.
Yeah.
He's trying to put a ring on it.
Yeah, but like
Pretty
he's
fast.
getting he's moving in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's moving in.
He was about to tell her. He loved her.
I mean, it actually did come out, right? And
Yeah.
then it was
Yeah.
At the end.
At the end.
At the very end, in a very funny moment right before the firefighters sprayed.
Which I was waiting for. I was like, how is this going to get ruined? How is this going to get ruined?
Because, of course, it's Happy and Toby. It's
Right.
never going to be perfect.
Right.
It's got to be really, like, something funny has to happen to make them both laugh, or make us laugh, at least. So, I mean, it's moving along. I actually thought... Again, with the pacing of the new episodes this season, I don't want to get into that, but I would have thought that they were a little further in the relationship. It just feels like it was that kiss was so long ago.
Yeah.
And
For us, it was so long ago.
For us, it was so long ago.
Yes.
I'm like, shouldn't they be like in second base by now?
Yeah, I agree. And nothing's changed, yeah.
Good baseball terminology. Yes, they should have been in second base by now.
I don't even know what that is, but I was like, they need to have been past first.
First. I
They should have
agree.
rounded first at least, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. But still, you know, we're still getting obviously a lot of fun moments with it. I think it's fun when they're both bickering at each other too. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting when they finally agree to be in a relationship, which I think it looks like, you know, based on the end of this episode, we saw them back on the roof. They kind of walked away together.
Something has to happen next episode.
Yeah.
Like, we need to like make it Facebook official for the two of them.
Facebook official.
Like, something's gotta happen.
If anyone's on their Facebook pages, yeah, keep an eye on their status.
They've become my favorite characters in the show.
Ooh, you go on.
I have to say, I mean, just their interaction. I love how happy he is, and now how Toby is all over her.
Yeah.
He's just so honest about his feelings, and she's so the opposite. It's kind of like the roles, the stereotypical roles are reversed
Yeah.
in their relationship. And I just, like
The
you said, I
dynamics
like
are
the
funny.
bickering.
Yeah.
I like the
It's
bickering.
fun.
I think they've been my favorite characters for a while. At least this pairing together. I think when they're best when they work together. I mean, Toby's great no matter what, but I think Happy's at her best when she's interacting with Toby.
Yep.
So yeah, I really love to see those two. And like I said, Toby was really good this episode too, because then Toby's also interacting with Walter, and he has the whiteboard out, and he's got this whole big chart.
Yeah.
You know, of course they're nerds. They got to scientifically figure everything else out, and he's the behaviorist, so he's paying attention to Walter, and he's got this whole he's trying to help Walter out. So you got to give him credit. I think part of it too is because. I think it helps him and Toby if Walter's probably busy in a relationship too. I personally think that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that was a crazy, it was great because Toby can figure Walter out. There's a little joke about Toby being able to see when people are in love later on. But just to see, the plan is, we haven't seen Drew in forever.
Yeah.
It feels like forever.
It does.
And it really is forever.
It really
At
is.
this point, it is. At this point.
Well, it feels like what? It's been
He's gonna
3
pop
weeks
back
is a
up
month and a half
soon.
ago. 3 episodes is a month and a half ago.
It feels like so long because
So,
of how
right.
often we don't have episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it sounds like Drew's gonna come back because, you know, this is Toby's plan to try and get Walter and Paige together, and of course Walter's denying it, and Toby's calling out all these little things that Walter does.
He's just so cold. Like, so cold.
Yeah, he really irritates me. If it wasn't for Toby and Happy, I'd be done with the show. Like, I can't. I don't know. It's just frustrating.
No, go,
I mean,
go,
he's
go.
like
Say
a
it.
maybe
I want to hear this. I wanna hear
Maybe
this.
it's a woman thing. Maybe
He's like a
he's so
robot.
frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, I don't enjoy watching Walter's romantic side or anything that has to do with
It's
Paige. It
because he
really
doesn't
makes me
really
uncomfortable.
have one. It's like he's just like, no. And
Yeah.
then they almost gave us a moment in this episode toward the end that was like, yes. But then it was still like anticlimactic. It was like, fine.
Are you kidding me?
whatever.
I love me and Marina. We're like,
They
oh,
were
they're
so-
touching.
Yeah, you guys are
Yeah.
screaming.
But the thing is, it's still like I wanted a little. Like it wasn't ever even like a full.
Oh,
lock.
right. No, they were like fingers in her.
No, like I
Locked in
liked
belly.
that, but I thought that maybe after at the end of the episode he would come and maybe just ask her to dinner. Like I didn't need a
Something.
kiss, just
To
something.
dinner.
Something.
Well, it's
Something.
weird because you know, because we'll talk about the fire, but they were in the middle of like a dangerous event, and of course Toby takes his time. You know, it's kind of cliche, a couple of cliches in this episode, but this event like, oh, we're not gonna make it. So my last words, I want to make sure my last words to you are "I love," and then he gets sprayed. So they already did that. So I feel like Walter couldn't do the same thing with
But
Paige.
we weren't
Right.
expecting it to, though. That wouldn't be realistic
Yeah.
after like what 3 months of him not doing anything. He's not
Right.
gonna do that right away.
Well, yeah, but I still think that he's just repressing everything still in his own way,
yeah.
and I feel it'd be weird to see both of them like all of a sudden this one event impact these couples in the same way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with Marina. I don't want him to be like Toby. That's not what I want. I just want.
Don't
to
be a
see-
freaking robot.
Yeah, and you know what's bothering me? I think it's probably not even him. It's probably the writing that is bothering me. I feel like he has been the same. Like, okay, I get it. I
Monotone.
get you. You're not
Right.
romantic. Are we gonna spice it up? Are we gonna change
But
it
what
up?
about those
I
little
don't understand.
moments when he does the
But it's
cinnamon?
Character.
it's the same thing. It's like going like this and a little bump and then stays the same. It's like, dude, give me something more. Maybe it's
Yeah.
the writing that's really genuinely bothering me about Walter.
Yeah.
But I feel like nothing's changed. It's the same thing. We're gonna get a smidge of it at the very end of the episode and then that's it.
And then at the end of the season, we're gonna get like a kiss or something. That's like It's
Maybe.
I agree.
Yeah, if
I
that
get that the
happens.
writers don't want to rush it too quick because then if they jump that, then we get what we want and they don't have much further to go
Right.
because
Yeah.
we have to be happy then. So I get that they're like trying to draw it out, but they also need to give us something or mix it
Right.
up in some way, or maybe even bring Drew in and do something
Do something.
to spice it up rather than just leave it this flat monotone
Yeah.
relationship.
And I'm only talking about the relationship part of the story.
Right.
Everything else is I'm entertained, I'm with it, but it's that part of the story really
Something
I'm like,
needs to
Just
happen,
want to be
yeah.
like,
I'm about to. Yeah. It's just frustrating. Nothing's changed. It's like the same thing.
Fired up.
I just want to fast forward it. It's like I know what I'm gonna do. I know what I'm gonna see. Nothing. I already know. Why do we have to watch this? Let's just fast forward. I already know what's gonna happen.
I'm gonna see
Nothing.
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 That's it. That's all I'm
Except
saying about
for
it. Okay.
the event of the day.
Okay, so let me ask you guys. Let me ask you,
See
ladies.
nothing.
Let me ask the ladies in particular this question. Ryland, you can join in if you want, but
I'll always
but,
join.
But so you're Paige.
Uh-huh.
So what do you think of Walter if you're Paige dealing with this?
Undone.
I think it's a little different because she works with them, so maybe she's more understanding of the situation.
Okay.
Right? Like,
I feel that she doesn't feel, not that she doesn't feel a equal, but she kind of looks at Walter as kind of a boss, and she's afraid of crossing the line and then not being reciprocated. I can't say that word.
Yeah, you said it
just
pretty
said it.
well.
Okay,
You just
good.
said you said a word you said you
'cause
can't say.
I say it out loud and then it's reciprocated. And also she has Drew and she has Rolf to think about.
There's too much to jump the gun
Yeah.
on her end.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
doesn't need to be the guy in the relationship anyway. She
Right.
puts up like enough that any guy would be able to like latch onto, and I get that it is like a boss working relationship-esque type thing. But I don't know, I think it's
He has nothing to lose. She you know, like if he gets rejected by her, then like, okay, he can just go back to normal and do his own
but
thing.
if the relationship gets messy, then that sacrifice something good for the team.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what Marina's saying. I just think
Where would you like
She's-
the writers to go with it?
I just want a little like give me something every now and then. Give me
Right.
make me feel like he is starting to
Right.
touch his romantic
Honestly,
side.
the most feels from the whole relationship aspect was about the couple that I didn't know when he proposed.
Right.
That was the most filling part of the whole episode.
Yeah, it was
and it
like-
wasn't even a main character.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And we didn't get to see them that much, but obviously it was really funny. And it was funny seeing. We'll get into that in a second. But the reason why I ask about that is if you guys are sick of Walter acting the way he is, I'm just trying to imagine how Paige might feel if
Yeah.
Paige
Oh
oh
has
my
any
god, no, if
interest.
that was real life, I would be pissed.
Yeah, but I think because of like the whole thing with Ralph, she's like
Mm-hmm.
being understanding.
Yeah.
She's like, you know what? I get it. I've dealt with it with my own son that
Yeah.
like doesn't, isn't the most social person. So I get it. So I think she's just being understanding because she has the experience with Ralph.
Okay.
Well, if it was me or Marina, I'd be like, boo.
And it's
It's
probably
been-
You
not,
don't make us wait.
It's been too long and you want to just touch my fingers?
Bye,
it's
Felicia.
probably not at the top of her to-do list.
Yes, that's exactly right.
I say it's
it.
probably not at the top of her to-do list. I mean, she has A, her job, B, her kid to get back. Like, she has more to worry about than just what Walter's love life situation with her is.
Right.
She has a kid.
But she's just waiting for him. Like you
Yeah,
can
she
see
needs
it.
some loving too.
She's just waiting, like the way, or at least the way they shoot it, they make it seem like Paige is just patiently waiting for Walter to come around,
Waiting for forever.
waiting for
forever.
waiting just.
What
Well,
are they?
stupid
What are they gonna do? Have a kid?
No, that's not what I'm not asking
We're
for.
not
marriage
going.
and a child.
That's like season 8
I think
or
what's
something.
bugging me is
Yeah.
that the each episode is they're different but they're the same.
Yeah, it's the
right?
same.
There's always like
Well, it
some-
is a procedural.
Exactly. So like there's always something that happens and like we know what's gonna happen, they're gonna figure it out and it's gonna work out fine.
Well-
so we need
It's gonna work out fine.
Yeah.
and we need a side story to keep us interested and coming back, right? Something
Especially when it's not on every week.
that exactly. So and I feel like the relationships are that thing.
Yeah, that's
and
what
right
we're
now it's
following.
just kind of
Well, I agree with
You're
you on
right.
one thing because I've had this problem with other, ever since cable started doing more 8-episode, 10-episode, 12-episode seasons, which they obviously got a lot from like the BBC, because they do those really, really well, and they can start a story, and then by the end of 12 episodes, you see a really good, everything leads up really, really well. But when you're doing 22 episodes or 24 episodes a season, and your goal is to get to a certain point, there comes these episodes where everything stays the same, where it stalls, where you kind of move 2 steps forward, and it's like, no, 1 step back, a step forward, a step back. And I mean, it's been good in a way having Drew, because at least that's been a good way to get distracted and to see things moving forward with the Drew storyline. But we haven't seen him in forever, so it's been these 2 people going, well, Drew's still not here, so I don't know what to do with you. I don't know what to do with you for another week until Drew comes, and then I'll get motivated to do something.
That's exactly it.
Probably they don't expect, like you're saying, they don't expect to get the full season pickup, so they have this outline for this great show, and then they get it extended, and the writers are like, oh, like, what are we gonna? Like, how are we going to expand every story?
That's interesting. I don't know if it's that, but I understand what you're saying.
Because they are drawing out, like, they're giving
they
us
have to
good
do a
scenarios.
They have to usually in the 13th episode have like a place to end it in case that's it. But then I would think they would have a plan. I don't know.
I get what you're saying, but it's like, I feel, even if that's true, it's like, fine, then give us tension between them. Give us something. But there's nothing. There's no anger. There's no, ecstaticness. It's literally just nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what it is.
We need Shonda Rhimes to come in and save the day.
Or not even that, like, crazy. Like, I love Castle, the show Castle, and their relationship, that's what the show's about, their relationship. And once they got together, the show went down. So I get you don't want to put them together right away. But when they weren't together, there was tension, there was a lot of flirting. Like, give us that.
But there's not even tension. Yeah, that's exactly. There's not even tension.
People.
Nothing.
Yeah. The tension is between Toby and Happy. We see that.
Yeah.
But we don't see much between Paige and Walter.
Right.
Yeah. Not good or bad. Yeah.
We see nothing.
Or make us want her to be with Drew. Like, in Scandal. I don't know if any of you guys watch Scandal, but
nobody watches Scandal.
Nobody watches Scandal.
Her and the president and the others, they make us want to be with both, like, her to have both.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should have Paige want to be with both of her love interests. Like, see why she should be with
I don't
both.
know if Drew is really good for that, because she wants to keep Drew away, but the perfect person to put in this scenario, and we didn't see him at all this week, is Ralph.
Yeah, at all.
Yeah.
Because if there was some tension with Ralph, if there was some problems with Ralph and Walter, perhaps, maybe that would add something too.
Yeah.
But it's just that Walter and Ralph are buddies, and that doesn't really forward anything. There was that one episode when Ralph was almost like arrested for being a hacker, where that one seemed really, really good. But that Drew was there too. That the reason for that was to make Drew go against Walter a bit more. But I think Walter and Paige right now, whether they get together or not, they need something. There's something that's needed.
Yeah, it's episode 19.
Yeah.
And you can have somebody watch this episode and they'll be like, oh, is this episode 2?
Yeah.
Did they just get to know each other? Like, it's the same. Nothing has changed from episode 1 and 2.
Okay, we've ranted about this for 20 minutes. We got to start.
No. Well, I think
It's like free therapy.
This is the longest we've gone on this topic. But I think at this point we're 19 episodes in for a season. I think we're noticing, and again, a lot of this might have to. And I don't want to make a big point because we made a big point of this the last couple of times that we've been on the show. Just the inconsistency of the show in 2015 in the new episodes airing makes it a little bit hard to keep momentum going.
Yeah.
But then to see an episode like this and still see nothing really major happen or the same thing again, it's like, oh really? I waited 2 weeks to see that.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I think if it was the first episode that I came in and watched, I'd be like, oh, it sounds interesting. It's a good show. But for us that we've been following for a few months now, it's like, we need more.
The thing is, I thought the storyline of today's was good, but it is the side things that are lacking, because the fire is interesting. All of the visuals are interesting. That's interesting, but it's the side stories that need to develop around it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. I mean, this is a procedural. So really,
so are we asking
judge.
For too much?
Well, I don't. Yeah, that's a good. Actually, that's a good question even to ask the people who are tuning into us. Let us know, because if are we asking for too much about the relationships? This is a procedural show. It's fun. It's a fun group.
I don't think so though, because also on CBS's Scorpion and their side.
Scorpion, you mean?
I mean not Scorpion. Stalker. And their side relationships inside their procedural are epic. Like I love their side relationships,
There are
and that's also on.
a lot of other shows that are procedural and they do a good job. you know, like the CSI, the like
Castle.
Yeah, Castle. I've never seen Castle.
Because this show, what this show does do well is this show does do the procedural really well and come with very creative ways for this group to go. I mean, let's start talking about the case actually, because I think we've covered at least the two major relationships right now, the two big couples. But there's a little more here and there, but. You know, this was a case that Cabe even said at the end of it, like, not many people could survive something like this, but of course his team could. I mean, everyone else in the forest department were like, oh, they're goners.
And he was persistent in saying that his team's alive.
Yeah. So, you know, whether you believe it or not, I think it's a little crazy when you think of how fast forest fires, you know, wildfires with the Santa Ana winds blowing especially can probably go, you know, in a place like that. I would think it's a little far-fetched how they've survived, but I'm still willing to believe it because I'm rooting for them to win. So I don't have a problem with that. But we have 6 hikers, I believe it was, from a church group, and they were lost in the woods, lost in the forest, and we saw like these two. You know, this is interesting. It was like these two alpha males at the very beginning. Like trying to fight over like what direction they should go in. I thought that might play out more, but it really didn't. It was just about the one guy with the leather jacket. He was the one guy that wasn't really dressed in the red shirt because I guess he knew he was going to propose to his girlfriend, so he didn't want to dress up in a dorky red shirt. I don't know.
He wanted to look good for the photos.
He wanted to look good for the photos, so he wanted to have the cool leather jacket on, maybe put some glasses on. I don't know. But anyway, so they get lost, and Cabe calls Team Scorpion because the forest department needs help with the Santa Ana winds blowing. I mean, it was kind of weird why they brought them in for 6 hikers, I thought, too. Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah.
I thought it was maybe like some politician's son was one of those 2 guys.
Right.
Or something really vital, but it was...
Or there's like some explosive
like
in the
that
mountains
definitely needs
or something
attention,
weird.
but does it need Scorpion's attention?
Yeah, it was just 6 lost. I mean, nothing against... Look, I had friends who've gotten lost and had like the forest department come and rescue them.
That's like my worst nightmare. And then a fire happening, no food or water.
Well, don't forget, Team Scorpion caused the fire. So
that's true.
There was no fire until sparks came out of the sparks that came out of the helicopter when Sly was fixing the radio. So that it wasn't Young Heart's spark fire. It was Sylvester's. It was Sylvester's radio.
Still Young Heart.
Yeah. A young heart.
Sylvester's young. He can say Young Heart.
Yeah, he's a young heart. But anyway, so that's the case. Team Scorpion's called in. They're using. Cabe decided to bring Team Scorpion in because they wanted to use the technology that Walter developed when he was a kid for the Baghdad missions, which we know was originally a tracking software, I think, to send like food supplies, but ended up being used more offensively, like for military. So that's really interesting, especially after last episode, seeing Cabe fighting with the other guy from Homeland. I can't remember his name right now. About some secrets that Walter apparently doesn't know from when he was a kid.
I know.
And Cabe even says, I think about Baghdad all the time. So I felt like this might be the episode that might come into play. Another thing we're waiting for. Another thing we're waiting for. This because we know that hammer's going to drop.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, again, we see like a lot of stuff go on. Santa Ana winds. It was like all a recipe for disaster from the first minute. They're talking about the Santa Ana winds when they're doing the bet with the airplane. Right. Sylvester gets to go in a helicopter with the Santa Ana winds going on, and he's all scared as hell. We got the badass pilot. Come on, Ten Hut, all military guy.
It's so intense.
It's so intense. The lost. So we have all that going on, and then like even when was it Cabe or one of the guys hands the sat phone? Don't lose it. Like I even said it out loud. I'm like, they're gonna lose it. They're gonna lose. They're gonna lose it. It's the beginning of the show. They're gonna lose it. So it was all a recipe for disaster. We see the whole plane crashing, and the title Scorpion comes on the screen.
Yeah. Right.
So we know this is in for one of those episodes where everything goes wrong again. I liked it. First of all, I liked it. So you said you liked it too, Ryland.
I did, yeah. I thought it was a compelling opening. Like it left us on a good, like a good commercial break hanger. I thought it was interesting. Of course, Sylvester's freaking out because he's going to get on this plane, and then because it's going to crash, and then it does crash. So I'm like, of course, sounds about right.
So I'm right.
He jinxed it.
He jinxed it.
Oh wait, he kind of does that. It's kind of like The Secret, where he creates, he manifests his germaphobe, scared life into existence all the time from being so so scared.
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah, I guess that's true. And it was really, it was really funny before he got on the plane. That character, that the other big character in this episode, which was the pilot, the character name was Marcus Bronson. I didn't look up the actor name, but he was really, really good. Thank you, Monty.
I'm on it.
I'm on it.
Our professional IMDb
he was awesome. He was like, "There's no crybabies on board my plane. He doesn't get to go on," So he was really, really funny, and he had that whole he actually reminded me of Robert Patrick 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a little bit.
He kind of did. He was really, really cool. So we see him in this plane, and of course he's the most able-bodied person. He keeps talking about how badass he is and how strong he is. He, your definition of pain is different than mine. Later on, he says that to Toby, and yet we see during the plane crash, he's the one that's the most seriously injured. So he has to rely on Team Scorpion.
Rick Ravanello.
Rick Ravanello.
Rick Ravanello.
Rick Ravanello.
All right. Yeah, it was a really good job by Rick Ravanello.
Yeah.
Really, really enjoyed him.
You may remember him from The Cave, Heart's War, Dark Hall, and that's about it. Yep.
Well,
Hey, way more than me.
He's good for him. He's
Right?
worth it.
No, totally.
Well, that's the stuff on
I think I
top.
watched The Cave.
Yeah.
That's the stuff on the top.
That's like scary, right?
The cave is scary.
Yeah. I just don't remember the character, but
You
I watched
close-
that.
you
I probably
close
had
your
my eyes
eyes.
closed for sure. I'm like, actually, what scares me the most
Eating
is the
a popcorn.
sound.
You need to rewatch the episode again with your eyes closed, and then when you hear his voice, you'll be like, "Oh, I know."
I know that guy.
That's the guy from the movie. Yeah. So anyway, he's the most seriously injured. He's got a major piece of shrapnel from the crash stuck in his leg.
That would be the worst.
Seriously.
Scary.
Like a fire, stranded, and wound.
You can't
Right.
take that out. He can't even walk.
Yeah.
And they're stuck up in a tree that softened the crash landing, but apparently is weaker than I guess going in the pine trees. So they have to, first of all, and we get to see examples of the two relationships that we were talking about. We get to see, we talked a little bit about it. We get to see Toby trying to be a man.
A human
Tried to
shield.
be a man.
That's why he tried to be a human
A
shield.
human to protect Happy.
I loved
He
it.
just like.
Yeah. He did it so, I know, the way he did it too, I would have been like, too.
Yeah, he was like a sack of potato just.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. He doesn't know how to do it. Come on.
I know.
I mean, I loved it. Good job, Toby.
It was good.
cute.
My brother better do that.
It was cute, and of course, Happy was pissed off because he did that instead of taking care of the sat phone. Because I guess that was his responsibility, and he didn't do that. And we see what Toby was talking about, which was, Toby was talking about Walter not, or giving Paige preferential treatment.
The love's already getting in the way, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these feelings.
And by the way, that was such a funny moment before they even got in the plane when he's looking at the photo, go, "Oh, those two guys are in love." And Paige is like, "You could tell if two people are in love just by looking at a photo."
like-
And he just looked at Walter. He's like, "Yeah, of course I do."
Yeah.
I have many ways to find out. But yeah, so Sylvester, in one of his cool moments on the airplane where he's able to focus, figures out exactly the order that people need to get out to distribute the weight properly.
So it doesn't fall.
And yeah, I'm surprised Sylvester didn't put himself last to begin with, but he keeps Paige last,
Yeah.
which I thought was really weird.
I think it's because she was centered.
Right.
Because she was in the back of the cabin.
And she was sitting in the center. I think there was two people next
well,
to her.
weird, like the writer thing. Like, obviously, we know Paige can't be
Right.
last. It was like Paige and Walter the last two, so
Yeah.
you know something was going to happen.
Right,
It was like
yeah.
cluing us in. And of course, when it was Paige's turn, it was funny seeing Sylvester jump out of that. Actually, he did pretty well. He rappelled pretty well off the plane, even off the helicopter, even though he was scared to death. And then he said, "I can't go anymore. I can't go anymore."
Just stand up.
Just stand up. Yeah, just extend your legs. But Walter sacrificing himself to go last, even though it puts the plane in the whole thing in jeopardy. And we see that really cool shot of the plane falling behind Walter when he finally gets out. But of course, Walter's not giving preferential treatment. The whole thing with the water with Paige, like, here's your here's your ration because I'm treating you like everybody else in front of Toby. So we get to see a lot of that.
But then secretly later, he's like, "You can have my portion."
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
When they're by themselves. That was so funny. So we see a lot of that. But the one couple that I thought was really, really interesting was Sylvester with Marcus.
Yes. I love that whole story.
Yeah.
Everything about that. I almost teared up at the end.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I would
'cause-
be proud too, Sylvester.
yeah. You'd be proud of you, kid.
Oh, so good.
It was cute. It was.
I liked it. And of course, it was really, again, because of Rick What is his name? Last
Oh,
name?
I
The
forgot.
guy from the cave. The guy that you don't know from the cave. Yeah. Don't say it like that. Give him respect.
Yeah, he's working. Let's find his name.
I want to say it right. Ravenello, I think.
We just have really bad memory.
Ravenello. Rick Ravenello. So playing.
We'll always remember you, Rick Ravenello.
Marcus Bronson, which I love because it's like Bronson,
Yeah.
tough name.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to be left behind with Sylvester at first. Everyone else had to go. Walter figured it out. And he was talking smack to Sylvester. Sylvester wouldn't bite the wires, so he was making fun of him.
Yeah.
And we saw the oil or the gas leak, which started the fire. But yeah, I think it was really cool to see Sylvester in this scene because we heard a little bit about his childhood already.
Yeah, about his father and
Yeah.
his relationship,
And,
which was nice. A little background on him.
To know kind of why he is the way he is.
Yeah. So we've heard a little bit of that before, but to see that and he's directly relating to someone that it sounds like, is almost exactly like his dad. And to see him step up and just little things, even like making that whole plane door into a sled for Bronson. And then this is one of the more far-fetched parts of the show. Yeah, I think this was one of the more far-fetched, but when they couldn't outrun the fire, which obviously I think they said it's 22 feet per second or something like that. So even a gazelle couldn't make it.
Right.
Yeah.
But they decided to hold themselves up in a pipe in the middle of the forest,
Yeah,
like it's
like
an
a water
irrigation pipe
disposal or something.
Yeah, and they use the plane door, because it's made of titanium, which is a low conductor of heat. But what about the rest of the pipe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the pipe would be gone.
Yeah, what about the rest of the pipe? It's all metal.
I know. When it happened, I was like, "What? Where are they? I'm confused."
Yeah, like the door is not going to hold all of the fire away. I figured, but they survived.
They would be.
But he's
baked.
genius. so
Yeah,
he knows
maybe
more
we
than
just
us.
don't know what we're talking about.
We're not geniuses.
No,
We're not.
Well, Nando isn't, but we are.
Yeah,
You're not either.
we think we are.
No, you're not. Marissa
what?
is. Marissa, our
Yeah.
producer, is, but you're not.
But thank you.
But anyway, so that was the one far-fetched little thing. But what I liked about it, at least, was they both thought they were going to die, and Sylvester stepped up and he found a solution. It wasn't a great.
I did like that Sylvester stood up and was like, "I'm not going to leave you," because the dude was telling him, he's like, "You can leave, I'm saving your life."
Yeah.
And Sylvester was like, "No, man, I'm going to stay." So I
Yeah.
thought I really respect Sylvester
Yeah.
for staying, because I don't know if I could have done that.
Yeah, I really liked how
Yeah.
when he was yelling at him, like military, when he was like, whatever, and he was
Sylvester-
like, "That's not gonna work for me."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that he said that, because it's true.
Yeah.
Like, if
Those
that-
methods don't work for everybody.
for everybody.
And to
exactly.
Bronson's credit, he acknowledged that. He
Yeah.
said, "Okay, but we got to do something. We can't do nothing."
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
think is good, because Sylvester does freeze too
Yeah.
in
Right.
times like this. So
Right.
so he finally talked to him,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then Sylvester came up with that idea that we don't believe, but still it
That
worked.
yeah.
That we
But it
don't necessarily
worked. But
believe.
it worked.
But anyways,
But it worked. But it worked. Yeah, and then of course, like you said, he gave up. Then he gave up. Not Sylvester, but Bronson gave up. And it was so nice to see Sylvester say, "No, I'm taking you."
Right.
And to the very, very end, when when we see that shot where we're waiting to see if we can find Sylvester, the plane's about to take off, the helicopter, and we see Sylvester with Bronson
over him.
over him. This is the guy who was
Amazing.
cramping up and couldn't even move with the
That
sled.
couldn't pull a sled, and here you are coming through the fire carrying somebody.
It was a big bromance, though. It was no, but you know what? He found the energy, he found the will.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm
The
proud of
endorphins kicked
him.
in.
El Guapo took over.
El Guapo.
It's El Guapo.
Over.
And
Slap that T-shirt on.
Imagine he would have been like, had it under. That would have been
Oh my gosh, that would have been
That
awesome.
would have been
So
hilarious.
that would have been awesome. That would have been great. But then and again, really fitting. That was the love story next to the proposal between the two
Right.
lovers and the hiker lovers. That was the bromance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the cool bromance.
Especially at the end when he runs to him like, "Be careful with him, be careful with him," putting him in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he gives him some nice little words.
Yeah. It was good.
So, and then, that was the main part. I mean, it was really cool to see, they had the proposal. I love the way they used little clues, like the one hiker that had the borite rocks. You know, they made a point of Happy dropping all the rocks because it was too heavy for them to carry them all. But then they ended up using that one, and they used the ring, the wedding ring, because that one guy, I think his name was Drew, or no, not Drew, Pete. His name was Pete. He told Walter that he was going to propose to it's my fault, I was going to propose to my girlfriend and I started this whole thing, and they got that green flare, so that was cool right when the helicopter was going to give up. So I like that. And then, of course, we talked a little bit about this, the handhold at the end, too.
Barely. It was like interlocking like this. That's not really a hand.
That's a little touch.
A little touch.
That's a little touch.
I mean, I loved it. I was all about it.
Yeah, the girls were screaming. We were sitting in the front, and they were back in the back, and they were like,
It was like 50 Shades of Grey for Scorpion.
Seriously.
Very, very minor.
50 Shades of Scorpion.
50 Shades of Scorpion.
50 Shades of Scorpion.
That's the most action we got for 19 episodes from them, so
I'm going to enjoy it.
Very minor spoiler for anyone who has not watched this week's Walking Dead. There's a scene kind of like that.
Don't tell me.
There's a scene kind of like that.
Don't say it.
No, there's a scene kind of like a little touch. There's a scene like that.
Okay.
That's a very minor spoiler.
No, don't say it. I'm so behind. Don't say it.
Oh, God.
She's like, I'm on season 2.
I'm on season 2.
I am.
That doesn't
3
count.
years behind. I'm not telling you who dies. Don't worry about it. I'm not telling anyone who dies. Do not yell at me.
Don't do it like what they did on Facebook when.
Don't even say that.
No.
Don't say that.
Yeah. Don't follow them on Facebook.
Okay,
the worst is when my friends do that. Not even Facebook. Like, you know, when your friend knows that you watch a TV show and then they ruin it for you, and you're like, "Are you kidding me?"
Well, I mean, this happened to me in another podcast where I said something that was like a week or two old, but I said something that was not a major. It wasn't a major spoiler. It was for Homeland, but apparently Homeland airs in Europe a week or two later. And since we're international, you know, I had a couple of international
people hating
me. Yeah, for a little while.
Nando can no longer go abroad.
I cannot go. I got my passport revoked. So totally. It wasn't even a major spoiler. Anyway, back to Scorpion. Yes, absolutely. So pretty much other than that, I think that was pretty much it. I mean, we saw a little bit. We talked a little bit about Toby and Happy at the end. We talked a little bit about. I mean, again, it was cute seeing. Actually, it was a cute moment when Cave was drinking the coffee. Just as a reminder, he's like, "Oh, cinnamon! I hate cinnamon."
Yeah.
You know.
One thing that we didn't mention that I did like. I was like, all right, Walter, I kind of like you for a second, for a hot minute. When you became Tarzan for everybody.
Jungle moment.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah, it works.
Because for a second, I was like, who is going to go? Are they going to send the smallest little girl?
I thought it was going to be the guy that was going to Pete.
I thought it was him, too, because they have the same kind of jacket. So I thought it was Pete for a second.
Yeah, so I was like, who is going to go? And then all of a sudden, you just hear Tarzan coming about. And so I like that.
No, it was a cute little scene, and we've seen Walter do that every now and then, right? Every now and then he just he throws caution to the wind, no pun intended, and he just goes for it.
Yeah.
So
not with Paige, but with everything else.
Not with Paige, but with everything.
Everything else, he'll give it all.
Everybody is.
He's letting his aggression out that way. That's how all that tension
there
that he
are
can't
other
do.
ways to let out your aggression.
Yeah, but
it's
a family show.
I'm not saying we need to see that. I'm saying, God.
But at least allude to it so
Seriously.
we know.
It's a family show.
Yeah, but it's like prime time.
Come on. Pretty Little Liars is on Fox on ABC
Exactly.
Family.
And they
Pretty Little
turn
Liars
up.
has way more action
Yeah.
than a lot of shows.
So Scorpion, give us that. Give us a little bit of love.
Give us some Pretty Little Liars, Scorpion.
Give us some love. I just want some love between
Give us
the
A.
characters.
We want to know who A is on Scorpion.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So is that it? Is there anything else big that we missed? I think.
Anybody have anything pressing that they want to say?
From this episode? I think we pretty much hit it. Like I said, overall good episode. I like these episodes. We've seen a couple of them where it's like everything keeps going wrong, everything gets worse. So from getting lost to the fire, not things closing up, and they spent a lot on the production value. I feel like
intense overall. It was good. We docked them a lot for the first half of the show for things that need to be docked on, but they also are doing a lot of things well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of things well, and we harped a bit on Walter and Paige, but.
We're women. That's what we do.
That's what we do.
You're women.
Relationships.
Yeah, of course. You're a woman. Well, yeah, so you are women. You said we're women. I'm like, you are women. It's not the royal we. So with that being, anything else, Monse?
When I was looking up the name of who Marcus was, there's 3 episodes left.
Oh.
That's it.
Well, that makes sense because this is episode 19.
Yeah, so it's 22.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have an episode next week, so we're not skipping a week.
Yeah, we're
I
not.
know. That's the best part. We were like every single episode this season.
We're like,
we're waiting for scenes from next week, and we finally got to see scenes for next week.
Yeah, very exciting.
So I think now's a good time to start talking about.
And anybody else not know that Walter is? Did you say he's British? I didn't know that.
Way to cover the show.
I didn't know that.
Way to cover the show. Yeah, he is British. He's British. when he said, "Stay tuned for scenes from." I don't have a British accent. I can't do it. Stay tuned for scenes from next week's Scorpion. Yeah, it was a nice little British accent from Elias Gabel, who is from England. I'm not sure what part. But anyway, so yeah, we got to see clips for next week. So there's an episode next week.
So we can finally do some predictions based on something.
Yes, let's go to predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I already forgot what we saw in the preview.
You know, I did too, actually.
I was like, I don't want to go first. I don't want to go first. I don't want to go first.
Is that wait for real?
Well, it was all about the procedural part, which I think.
Right, which was what?
Which was what?
Well, if you
Are
don't like
you
if you don't like tuning into clips from next week, you might want to tune out for 20 seconds because I think it had to do with a FBI person. Like they had somebody with their team.
I remember
I can't remember.
Weird old van.
Yeah, they had the 70s van.
Yeah,
that was
the 70s van.
Cape's van.
We were all
then
just getting ready to film, and we weren't.
It's called Crossroads.
So they're at a crossroads.
Crossroads.
It happened so fast.
I'm just gonna say while you're looking up a description if there is one for next week. Megan, I want to see more of Megan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen her
with
either.
some Sylvester.
But we didn't see any Ralph. We didn't see any Megan.
Drew.
No Drew, of course. Yeah.
But it's all right. Our boo-boos will be back.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, that's definitely, of course, not even a prediction. They're gonna come back by the end of the season, and I think that's when something's gonna happen with Walter.
Yeah.
Either like he's just gonna back out and it's not gonna happen, and she's gonna stay with Drew, or he's gonna step up.
Well, yeah, I agree.
You know, he has to. The next 3 episodes, it has to happen.
Well, I think we remember talking about, because we knew the names for the next 3 episodes, right? I think, if I remember correctly, and the cliffhanger's the last one, and the one before was something about a decision, so we figured that might be...
The next one's Crossroads.
That might be this. So Crossroads, that's an interesting title, actually. Actually, the 3 titles left are pretty interesting.
Hopefully everyone's just at Crossroads.
Everyone's at a Crossroads. Well, it looked like a fun bit with Cave and the van, because that's like a van from his old... I guess that's his old ride or something.
Yeah, he was like, I remember this van from when I was blah, 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 and Walter was like, I wasn't even born.
But I wonder if Crossroads... Oh, what?
I got something that I could say that wouldn't kill it too much.
Okay.
Because this is like a kind of like a little bit of a...
You got it.
All right. The story revolves around Team Scorpion trying to protect a witness.
That's what it was. It was witness. It was an FBI witness.
And and they have to undergo drastic measures. And I think it has to do with drugs. Ooh. That's all I'll say before anything...
Stay off the drugs, kids.
Before I keep reading, because it's like a spoiler site. So
that's
it's a spoiler site.
Like it's giving a little bit more of what I want to read. So that's this. But it's a witness that they're trying to protect, and I think it has to do with drugs.
Nice.
Okay.
So
I like it.
Cool. Well, I think Crossroads possibly would mean Drew's back next week.
Right.
That's what I think. And then the week after might be the big decision or something like that. So that's
so there's 3 episodes.
There's 3 episodes. So I have a feeling I think Drew's back next week, and I think that's why Toby even said Drew's coming back soon.
Yeah. I agree. I think
Bring
the
it up.
Crossroads is gonna have to do with Catherine. Or Paige, excuse me. I think it'll have to do with Paige and her crossroads.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else? Anyone else? Any other ideas? Happy Toby? They're finally doing it?
I have like a really random, crazy idea. Not necessarily for the next episode, so I don't know if I should save it.
Yeah.
Well, you can say it now, because then what if we say it before you next week?
Oh, that's true. I want to take credit if it happens. By the end of the season, what if Sylvester proposes to Megan?
By the end of the season? In 3 episodes?
In 3 episodes, you're saying Sylvester proposes to Megan.
She doesn't have a lot of time, guys.
Stop
She's
drinking
sick.
before AfterBuzz.
I like
that.
that.
You're getting too crazy.
I think that's kind of cool. I like that idea.
No, listen, she's sick. She doesn't have a lot of time. If it happens,
point at you and
if
laugh.
it happens,
and then I'll
she
drink
has
before AfterBuzz.
Okay.
That's the solution, right? I like that. I'm just saying 3 episodes.
Now she goes, I like it, but no. That's
No,
why
3 episodes seems too fast, but I would love that.
Yeah, we'll see. I know it's crazy, but it just popped in my head. So.
I like that's what the idea of predictions are. You don't have to be right, just a prediction. Anyway, I believe that wraps it up for this week. I think we milked this as much as we could.
Super fancy.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning into our Scorpion after show here on AfterBuzz. Thanks again. Where can we find all you guys when we're not watching Scorpion?
Well, I'll start at the end of the table. You can find me on Twitter at Ryland_Adams, on Instagram at Ryland Adams, and you can find me on Clever TV throughout the week.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Marina Santos Fits.
Ooh. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Monse Bolanos, MonseBolanos. You can also catch me on Latino TV Monday through Wednesday.
Awesome. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Nando Vel, Nandovel. You can also find me here at AfterBuzz on a bunch of different shows. And please comment and rate. You know, we haven't got enough ratings on iTunes.
Yeah, guys.
Marina's supposed to show her abs, but we have to get 100 comments.
She posted a picture on Instagram. If you do not
if
follow
you follow
her,
me on Instagram, you can see my abs.
You probably just should. Just do
or
that.
if you want to see live here on AfterBuzz, you guys have to comment. I'm just saying.
Give a lot of questions in the show this week, so please answer. What do you think about the whole Drew? What about the whole Walter Page thing?
Are we asking for too much? Yeah.
It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be a long comment.
Well, yeah, it doesn't have to be long.
Anyway, talk it out.
Thank you so much, guys. We'll catch you next week. Bye.
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 From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.